Stedman Gans, welcome to Challenge the Champion, brother.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to have you here. I've been following your journey. You actually came to one of our open houses like 2 years ago.
I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and
Yes.
that's where I met you. And I think a lot of the time what happens, if you see the people on TV, you think they're these big guys with big heads. You can't really approach them. But you were the total opposite. Very approachable.
I'm glad to hear that. No,
No.
I was amazed with what you guys do that night. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. And when I looked a little bit more into your story, I saw you were a guy, you do a couple of things. And that is really inspiring to see, especially for a young guy who's focusing on a sports career, but also trying some entrepreneurial things and just checking the whole scope
Correct.
of opportunities in life.
Correct. No, I must say 2 years ago I started going on this journey of exploring a little bit more outside of rugby. And I think it's important. I think I shouldn't lose Stedman in the process of playing rugby. Rugby is obviously a big love of mine. But I'm studying psychology. That's also a passion of mine. I have my own coffee business where I roast coffee. And then I've also recently started the internship at the Bulls. So I've been following their commercial team around, especially Stefan van der Merwe is the commercial manager at the Bulls, learning hell of a lot from him. So I've been exploring that space of the rugby industry as well, and it's been great. I'm enjoying it.
Yes, man. And did you get an injury or did you get a preemptive surgery to...
No, it was an injury. It happened in our last Stormers game, 2nd of March on Loftus, early in the game actually, and then I think 3 weeks after that, I got the surgery just to fix my meniscus.
Tell me, how nerve-wracking is that when you're a sports guy and you rely on your body to perform, especially to create some finance for yourself and to build your career going forward? How stressful is that when getting an injury?
No, it definitely is, and I think this one was a bit different. I've had 3 operations, one on my arm, both ankles, but I've always been scared of a knee because I see a lot of guys, they don't come back the same after a knee injury. But I must say I feel good already. Surgeon, physios, doctors, everyone's happy with my progress so far. So I feel good.
What is it now, 4 weeks?
It's now 6 weeks post-op.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when will you be getting back into training, running, that type of thing?
I should be in the next month running, and then mid-August I should be full in with the team again.
Yeah, that's exciting. And would you say when would you really say if you are back to 100% with stepping and running? You probably work with a lot of physios and things at the Bulls currently.
Yeah, so currently I'm with the physio team. I'm going to be with them until all the symptoms go away. Then they're going to send me over to the bios. And then after I've had a couple of weeks or maybe a month and a half with them, they'll send me over to the strength and conditioning coaches. And those are the guys that make sure that I'm ready to fall in with the team. But like I said, I should be going over to the bios in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, I hope that progress goes well, man. I want to get a little bit into your background. I want to hear where Stedman Gans, where you grew up.
Yeah.
When did you see you actually might have a career in rugby? I know you can maybe correct me on the whole process that the events played off, but you were a Springbok sevens player.
Yes.
And I want you to tell me how that events went off. Were you first playing in school in 15s rugby, and then they got you to the sevens? How did that whole thing play off?
So how that happened was I was actually with the Bulls juniors. Straight after school, I went to Waterkloof. So 2016, I joined the Bulls, played my under-19 Currie Cup season, and then I was supposed to go to the sevens just for a pre-season camp. I just wanted to get fit, more physical, learn different skill sets, that type of stuff. So towards the end of that 2016, I went down to Stellenbosch to join those guys to do exactly that. And then I did well. They said stay a little bit longer. And then 2017, I made my debut for the Blitzboks. And a pre-season became 4 years.
Yes.
So I stayed on for 4 years. I still came back every year to do Currie Cup for the Bulls. But 4 years later, I decided, okay, I need to go back to the 50-man game. So I rejoined the Bulls again full-time.
Why did you think that?
Well, for me, it was a case of I need to look at my career long-term. I think there's a lot of opportunities outside of South Africa and even more opportunities in South Africa. You can only really play for one professional sevens team, and that's our national team. So it's just very restrictive, the seven space at this stage. So I just thought for me to have a longer career, I need to move back to 15s.
I understand that. Tell me, how difficult is it moving between the two games? Because it is essentially it's the same game, but it works totally different. Your conditioning and the type of game that you play looks totally different, right?
It's very different actually. For me, it wasn't as difficult, but I know some guys, they struggle because some guys stay out of the 15s game for like 5, 6, 7 years. I came back every single year, so I stayed in touch with the 15-man game. And then also the way I played sevens and the way I played 15-man was very similar. Where if you have, for instance, a guy that's supposed to play flank in 15-man and then in sevens, he's going to have a very different role.
Of course.
So the gap is just so big. For me, I didn't have that problem. I was a center in sevens, I was a center in 15s.
Yeah.
So that gap was a little bit smaller. So that transition for me was a bit easier.
But I think the type of playing that you do, because you have that sevens background, is a very type of entertaining game to watch. The way that you run with the ball, the way that you are comfortable with the ball and able to do strange passes and things. Is that something that sevens teach you?
Yeah, no, I think that's something you do pick up at the sevens. But that's how I've been playing my whole life. I've always been the type of guy that looking for space, running into space, looking for weird offloads and stuff like that. So that's always been my game, and it just fitted nicely in with the sevens and now in the 15-man as well.
Yeah, I think it's such a difficult thing, and the game is very saturated with a lot of brilliant players. How difficult is it to try and stand out, or maybe create yourself as a specific type of player that teams want you?
No, very difficult. Very difficult. There's so much X factor in South Africa and in the world of rugby at the moment that I honestly think the only way you can stand out now is to be very consistent. To be the type of guy that a coach and a management team know that you're going to do the job every single time. And you're not going to have very high highs and very low lows. I really do think that's the future of the game. And that's where I'm trying to go to. To be a guy that might not score the most exciting try, but I'm going to be very consistent throughout the season. I think that's what you need to stand out now.
That makes sense, because you also, of course, you want to reach longevity in the game. You want to have a long career in rugby. What would you say that is for a center? Is it 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, 15 years, more realistic. Some guys are pushing it to 17, 18 years now. But I think
35.
35 years. I think realistically you can expect to have a career of like 15 years as a center.
Yeah, and the problem is keeping away the injuries.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest one, eh?
That is definitely the biggest one. Sometimes it's a blessing. If you
But
have
off time,
you have off time, your body doesn't take as many shots. So some guys, because they had some injuries in the beginning of their career, they can push it a bit longer at the end. But case by case basis.
Can you take me through some protocols that you use to keep your body strong, to keep pain away? I'm trying a lot of things: sauna, cold showers, a lot of these types of things because I don't want to use medication. What are the type of things that you use in the team and in rugby to prevent these things and to manage them?
Yeah, so our preventative measures is what we do in the mornings when we get to Loftus. That will normally be a light cycle, get blood flowing, or a stretch, foam rolling, stuff like that. For us, it's mostly if you had a previous injury, how do you protect that area and everything around it so that that doesn't come back and it doesn't affect your game. So a lot of the times when guys come in the morning, they'll work on a specific area. If you had a shoulder, you do your shoulder rehab exercises with the bands and your stretches and whatever.
And you have a physio there on site at the gym the whole time?
Correct. So that will be run by the strength and conditioning team. And they will be there 6:30 in the morning to be able to assist you with all of that.
Yeah, I think, would you say the best team setup is probably at the Bulls currently, where they have the most specialists?
Well, I believe so. I've only been at the Bulls.
So you can't really...
So I can't really make a comparison, but I really think we have a good team at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I'm actually a Stormer, and I don't know...
Okay.
Leave the interview. And I don't really know why. You know, because I grew up in Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
And I moved here in 2010. And sometime in my childhood years, I just decided, okay, that's the jersey that I like and that's what I'm going with. And I never changed.
I think it's time to change now. I really do think it's time to change.
I think it's time to make a conversion. I've been in Pretoria now for 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's probably the time
it's
now.
Time. No. I'll get you tickets to the next game. You come in your Bull from now on.
I think that sounds like a good deal.
Perfect.
So tell me, you say you were in high school in Waterkloof. Where did you grow up? Where's your parents from?
I was born in Vredenburg. And then when I was 13, we moved up to Pretoria. My dad came and worked here. That's when I went to Waterkloof, stayed there till matric, and then I went to the Bulls straight after.
Were you there? Waterkloof has a race, right?
No. Yes, it does, but I stayed at home.
You stayed at home?
Yeah.
And how was your school rugby career? Did you excel there as well?
Well, I was always like a standout in the school. I wasn't a standout for the under 16 Blue Bulls team or Craven Week or whatever. But I was alright. I wouldn't say I was a standout player and people were saying, yeah, that's going to be the next whatever. I was just a normal player at that stage.
How big of a role do you think the school that you go to plays in the career going forward?
Massively. I think it has a big influence on various levels. First thing is exposure. I know guys from Vredenburg that's probably more talented than I am, but they don't get the exposure.
Yeah.
So they don't get the opportunity to showcase their talent. So that's the one way. Secondly, the coaching you get. And thirdly, and most importantly, in my opinion, is the type of man they make you. So you see this a lot in rugby is you get a guy so talented, he has everything it takes to be an amazing rugby player, but he just doesn't have the characteristics or what they will call the menswees. What is that in English?
Yeah, let's say characteristics, the character traits.
The way you are as a human.
Yeah.
To survive such an up and down industry. And for that reason they fall out the bus. And that's the sad part for me. So in that way, I think that's the most important thing your school can teach you. Along with your parents, but you spend a lot of time at your school. So they also need to help equip you to be a man that can ride this wave.
So who would you say was the person that played that role for you? Is it a coach? Is it teachers?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of my coaches. I've had some unbelievable coaches at school level and teachers. I was always in leadership roles at school. So the teachers that oversee that the leaders in the school, they've always become mentors. And like for instance, Ben Kraus.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a ref now. He used to, when I was in matric, he used to oversee that. So I would lean a lot on him, and he was already involved in the rugby industry.
So it's a little bit type of a mentorship program from school years already.
Correct.
Do you think those people saw in you the potential to become what you have become?
I don't know. I haven't asked them. But I think those type of people, they care about kids. They care about children's future. They're not necessarily only going to want to teach someone that they see potential in. Anyone who's willing to go up to them and say, listen, yeah, I need some guidance. Please help me. I want to do this in this. They'll avail themselves.
Yeah. I think I've seen that a lot as well. There's a lot of untapped potential as well.
Yeah.
With someone not being guided or mentored from a young age, and then it's wasted talent.
Correct.
Because all of us have that one friend that has tremendous ball skills, little bit fat, he never did anything with it, but that's just a little bit of untapped potential, and such a waste. It's such a sad thing to see, actually.
It is very sad.
I have a lot of friends, and it's not a diss to them, but they can play pool, table tennis, squash, tennis, rugby. They just have like a instinctual ball skill.
Yes.
And I think if you have that combined with work ethic, and combined with someone maybe telling you, listen, you're actually quite good. You have the potential to do something with this.
100%.
Maybe someone just needs that little push.
People do. People need that little bit of, listen, yeah, you actually good. Just keep on. And it's sad that not everybody gets it.
And you get the opposite to that as well, where some people think that they have all the talent and big-headed, but it's not really there.
And the funny thing is, sometimes you get that guy, and he gets the guidance and the motivation, and he actually makes it.
He becomes it. Yes.
And it didn't start out with the talent or the natural ability. And it just goes to show how powerful that support structure around you actually is.
Yeah.
That it can, without the talent, propel you to get to where you want to be.
Of course, just generating that belief inside of yourself.
Yeah.
I totally believe in that as well. It's the whole nurture-nature argument.
Yeah.
Is it in you, or do you create it inside of yourself? And I think both is applicable.
Yeah.
It can be one or the other.
Correct. I agree.
And it can be also negative. If the negative is also true, if someone is being put down all the time, it will also bliss that flame totally.
100%.
And someone let it go.
And quickly.
Tell me, your parents.
Yeah.
How does that conversation look when you tell your parents, listen, my career is going to be a rugby player, a sports person?
No, they were very supportive from the start. I remember we didn't expect anything out of rugby. It was only in my matric year where an agent came to our house and was like, listen, yes, Stedman has potential. I would like to sign him on, try and get him a deal. That's when my parents started saying, listen, they've always been supportive of my rugby, but I don't think they ever thought it would become a career. So that's when my parents started saying, listen, we'll support you, go for it. And that's how it happened. Yeah, but always supportive.
Yeah, I think having your parents on your side is a big advantage as well. 100%. Having the extra positive push to the right side. Tell me about the psychology. You're saying you're studying psychology.
I'm second year now, studying psychology. I really want to be a sports psychologist when I'm done, especially to deal and to speak to guys the same guys we just spoke about now, the guys that need that little bit of a push, the guys that need that little bit more support, mental skills to deal with the industry, to deal with high performance sport. So I'm equipping myself at the moment. Hopefully by the time, or definitely be done by the time I finish my rugby career. And then I'm planning to fall into that career.
How would you say that is different to a normal psychologist or someone working with people in other industries?
Yeah, I think the way I think about it is I will more deal with people that's in a good spot at the moment, but they want to become great. You really do have a lot of people that's really not doing well at the moment, and they need someone just to get them out of that hole, help them get out of that hole to a good spot. I'm more looking to keep people that's good now, and they're looking to elevate their game, or whether it's a corporate job or whether it's just life in general. That's the type of people I would like to work with one day.
It's a type of also like the life coach setup.
Yeah, there is a blurry line between the two. Yes, yeah.
But it works with the same principles.
It works with, yeah.
Do you listen podcasts and those types of things with these guys? You know, the typical Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, love Jordan Peterson. Listen to him a lot. I wouldn't necessarily say I listen to other psychologists, but I do listen to other authors as well. Yeah, like Malcolm Gladwell tells a lot of good stories. Love his book Outliers. Busy with David Goliath now. Recently started listening to Scott Galloway a lot. Very interesting man. He's a lecturer at MIT. So yeah, I listen to those type of guys, people I look up to.
You know, I think there's also a lot of the times there's the perception of a rugby player who's just physical. And that is a misinterpretation of most rugby players that I know. They are very insightful and business-minded and total mind and body connection. Because I can think it's quite a lot of pressure that you deal with to make sure that you excel the way that you should, and that you have the long career that you're hoping for.
Yeah, I think people get a glimpse of rugby players' lives, right? And you see them when they're in their warrior state, and you have to be in that frame of mind to be able to compete and put your body through a game. But that's not the whole Stedman Gans or whatever rugby player you're looking at. There's a whole week, and that's 80 minutes of my day. Then there's the rest. And unfortunately, people don't get to see all of that. So they make a judgment on that 80 minutes, maybe an interview before and after the game. But I think if people have the opportunity to see more of a rugby player, they'll see that there's much more to the human being.
Of course. And these type of high performance guys, they're not just fast.
No.
They have the right mindset. They have the discipline. They have all of those combination aspects that makes someone successful.
100%.
And I also feel a lot of the time, and you're a good showcase of this, that if you were able to make that successful, you'll probably be able to venture into other areas as well and apply the same principles.
Yep, I think so too. I think the principles of success is universal. You can apply them to whatever you want to tackle. So like you say now, if you have them and you discipline enough to apply them, you can make other stuff a success as well.
What would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned with your rugby career? We'll go to the entrepreneurial side now.
Yeah.
But what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned that you will apply later in life?
I would say the biggest lesson is discipline. I live by this quote that says, you're either going to experience the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The choice is yours. And I think that's so important because I'm going to get to a stage where my rugby career is gone. I'm going to be 50 on the couch telling people, listen, yeah, I used to be da 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 da.
Yeah, go look me up.
Go look. And my big fear is I don't want to get to that stage and regret that I did not do stuff or I did not try stuff. So discipline is a very big lesson I've learned in the rugby industry.
Take me through a normal day when you're not injured.
Yeah.
How does a normal day look for Stedman Gans?
So we arrive at Loftus about 7:30. Then we do what we call prehab. That's what we spoke about earlier. Just getting the body ready for the day. After that, we normally do our strapping, and then we go to breakfast. Then we have a team meeting, 2 team meetings, 1 full team and then 1 unit, backs forward split. Then we go out, do our field session. Now it's lunchtime, we'll go out for lunch, we'll come back for gym. After gym, another meeting, and then that's normally around 3, 3:30.
And then do you have other things that they give us homework, or
Yep.
everything happens between that time?
No, so then we'll go, we've got an app called Huddle, where they will load the day's training, and then that's your responsibility to go home and look at that and study yourself, study what we're doing, what mistakes we're making, to be able to rectify that the next day.
So how many hours would you say of your day is spent on rugby and what rugby entails?
Most of it, I'd say. I would say between 7:30 and 3:30, I'm there, and then about 45 minutes at home as well, going through the training.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss that as well. They think it's the type of a career, the same with a pastor. I think a pastor is only working on a Sunday.
Yeah.
A rugby player is only working on a Saturday afternoon. But it takes a lot. It's probably, and it's constantly in your mind probably as well.
That's the thing. It's constantly running, but you have to learn to control that. You can't live just as a rugby player. You've got a life to live, and so you have to learn how to shut that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You married, right?
I'm getting married now, 29 June.
Yes, I saw, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And how do you make sure that home balance with the wife, family coming soon, all of those things, how do you manage a good balance with that, and especially with the traveling with rugby?
Yeah, it's just about trying to win your home, be at home. Same with her, she's a teacher. So they also have to sit at night, prepare for the next day, parents sending her messages, stuff like that. So it's just for us to make time to be together. I mean, you can be together but not be together.
Yeah.
And just to be aware of that.
Yeah, I think everyone has that problem.
100%.
We have too many distractions. That is for me, it's the biggest problem, because a notification comes through. Doesn't even matter where it's from. Even if it's an Instagram notification, something, there's this red dot calling for your attention.
Yep.
And it's so easy just to take that, and then you sidetrack totally.
100%.
But it probably gets back to discipline again.
And discipline can also be putting stuff in place beforehand. Don't expect yourself to make the right decision every single time. But if you put something in place, if you decide to just leave your phone in the bedroom when you get home because you're going to spend time making food with your fiance or whatever, then you do that. Yeah.
Setting yourself up for the success. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
You're not thinking you're going to be able to...
No. Don't back
face
yourself
that
too much.
challenge.
Don't back yourself too much.
No, that's beautiful. Okay, so let's go to the entrepreneurial side of Stedman. I heard a story, I can't remember if you told me or someone else told me, but the rugby players were walking somewhere to go get a coffee.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yes.
And you saw opportunity.
Yeah, so this was right after COVID, and the guys were walking across to Loftus Park to Seattle to grab a coffee, and that's when I saw the opportunity to get a coffee station at Loftus, so that the guys don't have to go, because that time we were also scared of COVID and stuff like that. So management was like, yes, please, we can do it. And I thought maybe we can have even better coffee for a better price. Why not? And that's when we started Social Bean. And I called it Social Bean is because I really wanted the social aspect of the guys chatting to each other, in the mornings, arriving at Loftus, sit around, have a cup of coffee, we have a chat before the day starts.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And normally when things like these happen, then it's easy to see, oh, yeah, of course he did that. That makes a lot of sense. but that's after the fact.
100%.
So I think that's a really good entrepreneurial trait, of seeing, listen, there's a gap here.
Yeah.
There's a gap. I can literally, with the guys not walking further, they already know me.
Yeah.
They're going to support me. Let me try and start something.
Correct. I have to be honest though, it wasn't entirely my idea from the start. So I had an ex-teammate that he came up with the idea, and he wanted to do it with Mark, who has now gone to the Cheetahs. But then he got a contract overseas and he couldn't do it anymore. And then the other one also said, no, he can't do it. And I'm like, no, guys, if you're not going to take it, then I'm going to take it. So that's where, so they had the initial idea, but they just unfortunately couldn't do it.
But you know the saying, ideas are cheap.
Mm.
The execution is where it's at.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, the execution is everything. I have so many conversations where people tell me about brilliant ideas. And I've heard this thing, I think it was on Andrew Huberman's podcast, where he says a lot of people, they get enough validation from sharing an idea.
Oh.
Just seeing your expression, yes, yeah, that's gonna work.
That's
and
enough.
then they get enough validation that they don't actually have to do it.
Oh.
I'm the opposite of that. If I really want to do something, I'll tell someone, and then I know, okay, listen, now I have to do it, because this person is gonna think I'm a yes man.
Correct.
If I don't do it.
Correct. Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
so I think for doing it, even if it wasn't your idea, that's where the value lies. And tell me, so you're looking to get into the athletic industry or sports industry by going into psychology after your rugby career.
Yes.
And is that the thing that you would think you would be doing the rest of your life when you can't play anymore?
Yeah, I think I would. Yes, that alongside business will probably be what I do after my playing days. But I really do have a passion for especially youngsters coming into the rugby industry. I think there's a massive, there's a lack of guidance during those first 3 or 4 years in a rugby career, that people we fall away, and it's sad because we don't know these stories, because those guys never make it. They never get a name for people to recognize. Oh yeah, you remember that guy. But they were so talented, they had the opportunity, they just needed a little bit more guidance in that space.
What type of guidance do they give you in the fact, because we know it's a short-term career.
Yes.
I mean, if you do anything else, if you go work in any type of industry, normally you're setting yourself up for 40 years and you're going to retire from that thing.
Yeah.
But with rugby, it's going to be only a small part of your life that you're going to be doing this. And then most people need to restart then. Do they give you any type of guidance about, listen, save money, study something? Do they help you with that, or how does that work?
Definitely. So there is support in those ways. There is all sorts of internship opportunities. They do encourage guys to study. They even have some bursaries available. And then, so there is and then also financial support. But then you also have to be cautious, because people would just want to, take your money
take advantage.
Take advantage 100%. But I think even before that is where the guidance needs to start. Someone that's looking for a bursary or an internship opportunity, that's someone that's already in a right frame of mind.
Yes.
That's gonna make a success of their life.
Yes.
You need to help people get in that frame of mind so that they can make use of those opportunities. So at the moment we have, in my opinion, a system where we have opportunities available for people that's not willing or able to take it. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
They are not yet in the right frame of mind.
In my opinion.
I understand that. And I think another difficult aspect to think about is a lot of these guys, they get a contract with the Bulls or something like that. They get a good salary. What do you do with that salary? What do the other guys normally do with that salary? Do they buy property, invest it in some type of way, or do they just live a lavish lifestyle?
Some guys do just live a lavish lifestyle. We've got a lot of farmers, guys that either want to go into farming or are farming already. And then we do also have other entrepreneurs starting stuff in the transport, also in coffee. So you have a mixed bag, eh?
Yeah.
A lot of guys doing a lot of different stuff.
We've worked a little bit previously with Duncan Matthews.
Yeah, he was very entrepreneurial.
Yes, like he was selling phones and laptops and starting businesses and buying properties. Because we're in real estate, he spoke to us early on, telling us that a lot of the rugby players were renting different spots, renting a house and then sub-renting it between the players, some things like this. And that's where he saw an opportunity. Listen, I need to buy a house. I have 10 tenants ready to go.
Yeah.
And I know them, so this will be a good setup to have. But it's again spotting that gap.
Correct.
Seeing where can I add value.
Correct.
And I think it's really interesting to see from afar guys that have the same natural type of talent, but also that take on different type of endeavors and how they make it work. Because I think a lot of you guys know that this isn't a long-term thing.
Yeah.
I should milk it while it lasts, but I should also prepare for the future.
100%. I see rugby as a beautiful career. You obviously do it because you love the game and you love to play it. But then also career-wise, it's almost a springboard. It's that opportunity to build up speed, get resources early on in your career or early on in your life to set you up to build your career after rugby. So it's almost this opportunity to, instead of standing on the 100-meter starting line in the blocks and then starting your sprint, you have a little bit of a run up. And when the gun goes off, you're running into the line and now you start your race. That's how I approach my career at this stage.
I think that's very sensible because a lot of guys, they have that money or the capital injection already. They need to have an idea or a passion or something that they can put that energy and money into.
Correct.
And that's just probably something that you need to discover on your own.
Yeah, that's a personal journey.
Tell me about playing overseas. We are basically supplying the world with rugby players from South Africa.
Yeah.
Do you think that's due to the Springboks, due to the rugby culture that we have? Is it due to our schools? What is the reason for our players being able to make it so successful overseas? And really, because that's when we're being paid in a different currency.
Correct.
And bringing that money back, that makes a massive difference. Yeah,
I think it's mostly because of the rugby culture we have in South Africa and the school system. You really need to have good coaching and a good guidance from a very young age. And what happens is South Africans, we do get that. And now when we're 18, we're just so far ahead of other countries. And I think that's what's making rugby players, South African rugby players, so valuable in the rugby market at the moment.
And possibly the physicality of the South Africans.
Because that's the way we play the game. That's the way we play. In school, the biggest guy is the best player. Because he can just be, he's just so physical.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to adapt. I'm a smaller guy. You have to learn to adapt. And a guy in another country don't necessarily have that opportunity because they might value a different skill set.
Of course, yeah. And they maybe play a little bit of a different style.
Correct.
More running. But that's the other benefit that we have. We also have the small, fast, agile guys. And it's probably that combination, right?
Yeah. And those guys learn those skills because they need to learn to avoid. Because you have these big physical guys smashing, and now you need to learn how to get out the way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you watch Chasing the Sun?
Yes.
I think
I'm on episode 2 now.
I think a lot of people are shocked by the way in which the coaches and the guys communicate with each other. It's a lot of swearing. It's a lot of aggression.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that that is a lot of swearing. First of all, I don't think it's necessarily like that in every team culture. It's not necessarily like that at the Bulls, but in some environments it is like that. You get there, you see what it is, you adapt, and you go forward. Yeah, I don't think there's a right or wrong.
No, I don't think so as well. But my thought on that was, I grew up in a mining town, Secunda. And I think that's also a different type of culture. It creates a type of person. And the way which those people communicate is different. And I can think working with a lot of testosterone-filled young men with a lot of aggression, and I mean aggression, the type of aggression that you need to play a physical game like rugby. And I think that is probably, it's just being honest, that is the way which you can get through to that guy. You need to use some strong words to show the person that you're serious about this.
Yeah, 100%. I think that environment also is such a high pressure, high stakes environment that you do everything that you can to get that message across, because if it doesn't land, it can be detrimental to a season or a World Cup or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that also contributes to how those guys would speak to each other. I've never been there. I'm just speculating from the outside. Yeah.
But I do think that is, I can't judge that. I think that makes sense, and I would probably react the same way in the same situation. I don't really swear on here. I do swear, but not. I think certain type of spaces require certain type of communication.
Yeah.
I'm on a site a lot of the time, working construction. That is also a place where talking softly and talking nicely doesn't always get the job done.
No, it's not going to work.
Yeah. You need to put some exclamation on certain words to make sure, listen, this part, I want you to hear this part properly.
Correct.
If you break this thing, there's going to be trouble. And that is just probably a way in which men communicate. But I do like the fact that they left it in and that they didn't try and smooth it over.
Yeah.
And you can see the fact that the amount of stress which those guys are under, because the whole country is saying, we want you to win.
There's expectation.
There's big
and
expectation.
A lot of it, yeah. And I think, that's what makes the series so special. This one and the previous one. It's it's an authentic view into what goes in camp. And you can see it hasn't been, like you said now, made pretty. They give you the real deal.
Yeah, and I like that about it. I think a lot of people were shocked though.
100%.
But they should see what really happens.
Yeah. And
then they can probably understand it better and have some empathy for what these guys have done for our country.
Yep. I remember in one episode in Chasing the Sun, Coach Rassi says, that's a challenge, and he smiles. And I remember saying to Lene, my fiance, see, that's where you need to get to. When you say this is a challenge and you get excited about it, because that's when you're ready to take on life.
Yeah.
I
have a friend. He basically does we buy cars for motorcycles.
Okay.
He has the biggest dealership in the country. The company's name is Leisure. And he's really the top dog in that industry, by far. And I spoke to him the other morning, and he told me he was at Nampu, and he had a stand there, and he says he's the owner of the business. And he says he was a salesman there. I'm doing sales because it's difficult. And he says he wants the people to ask him that difficult question where he doesn't know the answer. He's looking for that discomfort. He says the one guy asked him a difficult question about the motor spec on the one Can 4x4 buggy, and he said, I can't answer this question, but if you ask me again tomorrow or any other day, I will have that answer for you ready,
Sure.
because now I know.
Yeah.
So I think that's also quite a big indicator for success when you looking for challenges and you get powered by challenges.
100%. Because that's an opportunity to grow.
Yeah,
And I think, certain people look for it, certain people look to avoid it.
yeah,
And that's going to be your life.
yeah. The fact is you can't avoid it,
100%.
and that will not help your situation by avoiding it. But it is a difficult mindset to stay in, because it's draining. It
100.
drains you. I'm always looking for solutions. I need to drive another car. Okay, what must I do?
Yeah.
I need to get to a site. There's stairs. Okay, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
So I think I've learned to adapt to challenges, and because it's not gonna help sulking over it or moaning over it. I've tried that as well. Didn't work.
Didn't. Will never work.
No success from that. So yeah, that is the difficulties of life. But all these experiences, again to what you were saying earlier, it builds that person. And the type of person that you build is going to be applicable to all other circumstances in life.
100%.
And that is the value of doing those difficult things.
Yep.
Tell me, hobbies.
Yes.
Do you have any other things that is like gives you some relaxation?
Yeah.
Takes your mind off of all the other busyness and entrepreneurial things that you are busy with.
I always
Studies.
struggle with this question because I don't necessarily have a hobby that I can say, I like to go fish or whatever. I just, whenever I have time to myself, I like to be at home and just either watch series or a movie. I do try and play a little bit of golf, obviously not now with my injury, but to be honest, not very good. So that makes it tough as well. So yeah, no, I wouldn't say I have like a hobby that I go to. I tried taking up photography a couple of years ago. Lasted like a month. And then I was like, no, this
It's an expensive hobby as well.
and it's moeite.
Yeah. But the nice thing is your career is most people's hobby.
Yeah, that is a nice thing, I guess. But yeah, just staying at home and getting some downtime.
Yeah, I can understand that. You know, most people have an office job and they just want to get onto a rugby field and kick a ball a bit or something like that. My brother, he's extremely busy. I mean, he's running 3 or 4 businesses at the same time. But every Tuesday night and every Sunday night, he goes to play touch rugby for like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And that is the ultimate for him.
Yeah.
That's total enjoyment.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you need that if you're not outside every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I don't think you have to feel bad because you have enough hobbies that are serious hobbies.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a difficult question now. What do you think is currently lacking in South African rugby?
Currently lacking.
What are things that we can do better? Be it managing, be it teams, be it type of competition. What are things that you think that we can do better?
I would say the industry I want to go into, because, well, maybe I'm just inclined to think this way, so that's why I see the gap there. But that guidance, that support, that mental health side of the game, more resources pumped into that side of the game. I feel like we've gotten to a point now, and not just mental health, I have to make this clear, also performance, mental performance. I think we've gotten to a point now where the physical aspect of the game is at a level where we have the best athletes we've ever had. The guys are bigger, the guys are stronger, the guys are faster. There's small gains to be made in that sphere at this stage. I think the big jump is going to be who can perform every single time under the most pressure, who has the mental ability, the capability to do that. And I think that's maybe not just South African rugby, but rugby should go in the future. To have I remember I watched Dan Carter's documentary, and he says he went from not seeing a sports psychologist at all to almost seeing it as weird when a player don't have one, because it's so important to have those type of conversations, and not necessarily someone that has all the answers, but someone that can ask the right questions for you so that you can find the answers. And I think that's the biggest jump that we can make.
I agree with you. I think because of our sport doing so well and our country doing so well in the sport, the target gets bigger. The pressure gets more because now you have to, it's all about position. And if you come from 10th position to 5th position, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you go from first position to second, now everyone's disappointed.
100%.
Why did we do so terribly this year?
Yeah.
So the pressure is just mounting. Everything's building up.
And our superstars are getting bigger. So that's also a different type of pressure that's on the players. And that all needs to be managed somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably in your head. That's the main space it needs to be
Most probably.
managed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a couple of people about CTE and brain trauma caused by rugby, and I know they are constantly evolving the sport with the rules and regulations, high tackles. Is there a way that you think that it would be a sport safe to play long term? Because of the physicality aspect, I mean, it's always going to be physical. And it feels like there's a lot more people coming out now because of brain trauma, you know, and it is something. I mean, even soccer players, from headbutting the ball the whole time, NFL, you know, American football, all of these guys, it's really something to consider, just for the health and longevity of your life, because your life doesn't stop after the sport.
No, it doesn't.
You still have a long life after that.
Yes.
And how do you think the sport can manage that and can ensure the safety and the longevity of the players currently?
Yeah, I think the World Rugby has put in some unbelievable technology and research behind this issue. And the protocols we have in place now is some of the best in all sports. And but there's always going to be a risk factor. The issue is you're working with humans. You can put protocols in place, you can put rules in place, you can put equipment. Human error is going to be part of the game. And I think that's something that we have to make peace with. But we should always try to make it even safer. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever get to a 0% safe, 100% safe rugby game, but we can get as close as possible, definitely.
Yeah, and when you have guys 120 kgs running full speed into each other, the risk for injury is always there.
It's going to be there. It's going to be there.
Yeah. What would you say to a young person who's in the position of Stedman Gans at 16 or 17? What advice can you give to them who maybe wants to pursue this career for themselves?
Yeah. I would say I was very focused on, because I was a smaller guy always. I was very focused on getting my body right and getting quick enough and all that type of stuff. And I would say for that person, do that, definitely. Make sure that you're the fittest athlete you can possibly be. But at the same time, also become the person that is going to be the athlete that you're dreaming to be. Sometimes we see an athlete, we think, okay, no, that's what I'm going to model myself on physically. But we forget that we need to model the person that guy is also. So I would say that, and then I would say enjoy it, enjoy the journey. It's lekker.
Yeah, I can think that it passes quite quick.
It
You need
does.
to be present.
Yo, it does, eh? 2 years ago, I had my 25th birthday, and I remembered that was a sad day for me. Because when I was 18 and starting my career, I had all these plans for when I'm 25, I'm going to have this. And you turn 25 in that morning, you wake up, you haven't reached any of it.
Yeah.
Or most of it.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, oh my goodness.
But I can promise you the other guy who was also 18, also playing rugby, he would give anything to be in your position.
100%. And that's the sad thing. And this book that I'm reading now, David Goliath, Malcolm speaks about it. He says, can I go on a little bit of a tangent?
Of course.
So he says, the funny thing is, if you go to a top university, right, and you look and you divide the students into 3 tiers, the best, the middle, and the lowest achievers. The lowest achievers in a top university like Harvard gets the same marks as the highest achiever in any other university. But these guys still drop out more than the highest achievers in another university. And it's just a thing of we compare ourselves to our immediate surroundings.
Yes.
As humans, we struggle to compare ourselves. We struggle to take yourself out of your situation and look at the world from a
bird's eye view.
From a bird's eye view and compare yourself to the whole thing. I walk around at Loftus every day, so immediately I compare myself to everyone there.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't actually do that because, like you say now, you miss to see what you've accomplished and you just focus on what you haven't.
Yeah, I think it's a perspective issue. And I have had this. As soon as I start to feel sorry for myself, it's because I'm having the wrong perspective. I may be looking at someone better off than me because that's what we like to do.
Yeah.
I want that car, or I want that house, or he has this thing or that thing or money or whatever it is. But you forget the line below you is so much longer. I don't have to drive far to see another guy in a wheelchair, but he doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a house. He doesn't have a caring family. So it's just a perspective thing.
100%.
There's examples all over. And if you want to be sad, there's also examples. But that's not what you have to focus on.
100%.
You can easily get some gratitude by just thinking, I'm actually in a great position.
Yeah.
I have a lot of good things in my life. A lot of things have turned out well, despite bad things happening. And I think that is a really valuable perspective to be able to see.
100%.
Yeah, it's not the easiest one to see. Always,
It's not.
And you want to feel sad about yourself.
100%. You need those days.
Yeah, and it's all right to feel that as well.
You have to.
But you can't. You can reminisce, but you can't linger.
Yeah.
You can't stay in that.
That's beautifully said.
Yeah, it's something that I heard from someone. It's not mine. Stedman, this has been excellent, man.
No.
Thank you so much. And I think you are going to achieve everything that you've wanted to achieve. The social bean business is going to do well.
Thank you.
Your studies are going to go well. And I'm sure you'll make a big impact wherever you are busy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Leroux. It was
It's
like a conversation.
excellent, man. Thank you so much. And I'm going to do a lot more of these.
Yeah.
I think you sport guys have a lot of insight that would be valuable to especially younger people. People who are looking at you and they don't really know everything that it entails. They just see maybe the fame or the scoring a try. That's what I want. But there's a full package that goes with that. And I think educating people on that would be very valuable.
100%.
Thank you, Stedman.
Thank you.